Hey everyone, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce.
And we're Better Half Reviews. And today we're talking about Heroes of the Shire. This is designed by Damien Senior, and the art is by Edwin Hayo, and it's from Senior Games, and this is launching on Kickstarter in November.
Don't be confused, this is not Lord of the Rings, but it is a great game anyway. So let's check it out.
Spoiler! So when you're setting up your game of Heroes of the Shire, you need to pick one of the characters. On the back of their player board, it will give you a little lowdown about this character, their stats, and who they are. If you flip it over, that's the actual board that you will be playing with. So in this prototype, we just have 4 of the characters. We will play with the Paladin and the Hunter. We'll be leaving out the Warlock and the Warrior. Some of the characters will have specific cards, so we'll take out the Hunter cards. Each character will also have a Spell Mastery board. This is an optional thing that you can play with, but we'll add it in. So we need the Paladin and the Hunter. For the purposes of explaining how to play the game, we're just going to focus in on my board, the Paladin. So if you're doing Arena mode, you need to select your path for the Spell Mastery board. So there's little squares right here. If you pick a certain path, it'll give you those abilities for this round. So there's a Renewal, Reinforcements, and Divinity. I'll pick Reinforcements. So I'll put my little cube right here and on down the whole line, and I'll have these all available throughout the game. And we'll talk about what they do a little bit later.
And just a quick note, in the campaign mode, you're going to start at a lower level and not have anything on this mastery board, but as you gain levels, you'll be able to earn spells, and you can choose which path you want to follow, and even mix and match paths if you want to. But for the purpose of battling it out, you should just choose one path. It makes it a little simpler.
As we mentioned earlier, each character will have different stats. So their health is 36 for the Paladin. We're going to set our dice to 36. And this is how we're going to keep track of when we lose or gain health. You cannot go higher than your max health. And then your agility is what is going to set off who starts the game. Each character has special abilities listed here. Some of these abilities are ongoing or help allies or are just a one-time effect. For example here, my Paladin is really helpful with allies to help them gain some extra base health or some light damage.
And here, my Hunter allows me to have a loyal companion. That's where this deck of cards comes in. I can choose between the bear, snake, or bird to have as one of my loyal companions starting the game.
So we have this turn order card based on the agility. That's who goes first. So Bryce has an 8 agility and I have 5 agility. If Bryce adds in one of his loyal companions, like the bear, this has an agility of 2. He would fight after I do.
So this will be the turn order for the round, and it'll actually stay this way unless someone's ability gets reduced. There are opportunities to reduce someone's agility. If that happens, then you can rearrange the turn order and it'll be different for the next round.
So my special ability here with the Divine Aura, it says all allies, including yourself, gain a permanent +4 base HP. So I will go up to 40.
So I attacked Alison. I dealt some damage to her, so she reduced it from 40 to 34. And I also did this bleeding condition.
So now that it's my turn, I have to do the upkeep phase. So if I have any tokens or buffs on here, I will move them one direction over. This bleeding token means that I'm going to take a hit every time that's on my board. So I'm going to go down to 33.
Mini conditions last for 3 rounds. That's why we're representing it here. After the 3rd round, it'll slide off the board, and you just discard the token. But here, since it's the first upkeep, it's only moving down 1.
Your upkeep also involves dice, but I haven't played anything yet, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So now that I've moved all my tokens and I don't have any more upkeep, now I can take my action. So on your board, there's typically 2 different types of actions available to you. There's support actions and attack actions. So I can choose to support, defend, or sometimes rejuvenate some of my health, or I can choose to attack one person or many people. In this case, we are just fighting 1 versus 1, so all of my attack spells will just go after the Hunter. So for example, let's say I played Second Embrace because I want to gain some HP again. The green symbol means myself or an ally, so I can gain back 5 HP plus whatever my intellect is. So my intellect is 5, I would gain back a total of 10 health.
However, since her max health is only 40, she would only gain back 7 health in this instance.
So whenever you use something, you have to put down a die to show that you've used it. This says it has a cooldown of 4, so I'm going to put the die with the face of 4 up. So on this one, since I can't take the full effect of gaining all that health back, maybe I'll attack Bryce instead. So this one is Divine Light. If it shows multiple people, that means you can attack more than one person at a time. But again, we're only attacking Bryce. So this says that we can do 3 damage plus I gain 2 HP. And then my damage is going to be plus my strength. So 3 damage plus my strength is 5. So that will be 8 damage going towards him. And then I'll gain 2 HP. And this has a cooldown of 3. And it also has this symbol here, which is the special symbol with the paladin. So anytime I use something that has that symbol, it says on my character board, all allies, including myself, gain +1 permanent light damage. So I will put that here. It's a condition and it's permanent. So now my attack is going to be 9.
So any attack can be reduced by my defense. Here I have a defense of 4, so I reduce her 9 damage by my 4 defense, meaning I take 5 hit points of damage. So here I have 35 health. I'll move that to 30 to indicate my new health.
So once you've cast your spell or your attack, you place your die, do the damage or regain the health, and your turn is over. So let's say it gets back to my turn again. I do my upkeep phase, so I move this over. That means I lose 1 health, so I'm going down to 34. And then I need to upkeep any dice on my spell board or my main board. So this is a 3, I'm going to change it down to a 2. Once this gets down to 1 and it's removed, this ability is available again. The spell board is used in the same way, so you place your die down and use the ability. In the game, there's different types of buffs or conditions you can gain. So some of these are going to be taking away health. Again, in your upkeep phase, if it doesn't say how many rounds it's supposed to stay, it's going to be 3, and it'll slowly move off your board. Once it moves off the board, then you don't have to worry about that buff or condition.
Some abilities could also nerf or buff specific attributes. So if I had something to buff strength, but it nerfed my defense, I could indicate that there. And just like the conditions, these will move down during my upkeep phase. Sometimes a buff can be permanent, so you'd put it over here on the permanent side, just to remember that you have that permanently.
Generally, when you're playing arena mode, most things are the temporary buffs. When you're playing the campaign mode, you're going to get a little bit more of those permanent buffs going on. Since this is an arena mode, the game ends when your character goes down to 0 health points, so last man standing wins. Alright, so that's how you play the game. Let's talk about how we feel about it. Bryce, what are some of the pros?
So, despite any initial first impressions, this game is actually really simple to learn. Maybe one of my cons is that there's a lot of tokens, a lot of dice, but it is actually very easy once you get the hang of it.
Once you get the hang of it, yes. Like, the idea of it is, you know, if you're playing arena mode or just anything else, when you take your turn, you're going to upkeep, move some stuff over, and then pick a spell or an attack or defense, do it, put your die down, and you're done. Yes. But there's so much depth to this game.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. So we enjoyed playing King of Tokyo back in the day, and it's fun. And it's one where you battle it out and you can kind of get powers as you go. But we're kind of over that. And I'm not saying that this is like King of Tokyo necessarily, but it felt like that's what I would like King of Tokyo to be, like more in depth, where each character you play as has all these different options, and I like the strategy that you can play into it, whoever you're going to be, or even with the team mode, doing the combinations of characters.
That's where it really shines, in my opinion, is playing 2-player and just battling it out against another person, or even 3-player and everybody just for themselves. It's fun. But when you have teams and you're able to play off of someone else's abilities, or you're able to help support someone else and make your whole team stronger and weaken their team at the same time, it really shines.
Yes.
And a lot of those interesting choices you can take on your turn really come out.
Mm-hmm. And the more that you play this game, the more you can kind of understand the intricacies and like how to like, I don't know, time things out, or it's really cool.
Yeah, I like how a lot of your more powerful abilities have a cooldown timer.
Yes.
Like a long cooldown timer. Almost all your abilities have a cooldown timer.
Yeah.
And then some of your weaker abilities have less of a cooldown timer. And so you're trying to, hit someone really hard, but, make sure that's available for like a killing blow or something. And it's really interesting.
Yes. And we've had some games where we play it and I'm like, oh, I should have done that earlier. Or, oh, I should have done that later. And trying to like work around that or, learn from it in your next game. And we play this with several different people online and in person. And everyone has enjoyed it. Even like people who play like a little bit of a lighter games still had fun with this.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying originally is there really isn't like, yes, it looks like there's a lot going on.
It does look intimidating.
But at the heart of it, you are just upkeeping and then making a very interesting choice. Mm. And it kind of that strategy, yes, can get very complicated in like what you choose when to do it. But at the core of it, you're just choosing what you want to do at that point.
Yes.
And that's it. It's a very simple game, but it's so complex. Mm-hmm.
And from what we've played so far, I feel like it's pretty balanced. I mean, there's going to be like, I think 20-something characters available total in the Kickstarter. I've probably seen about 8 of them total. I can't remember, maybe 9 or 10. I'm not sure.
I think you've seen more than I have. I think I've only seen like 6 or 7.
But with that, like, that's a lot of characters to be playing with, and they are very different from each other and have different feel and different everything. Like the amount of time that would go into this to create all those characters, and it's just crazy to me, and it's so cool to see how they go together.
Well, not just the amount of time to create those characters, but the amount of time to master a character and just learn its fighting style. It takes a decently long time. Yeah. Like, the first couple times you pick a character up, and you're just going to be like...
You're just kind of going with it.
I think this is going to be a good move based on how, like, I've played before, but you don't really know, like, how that character shines until you really get to know that character, and you've used them several times. And
it doesn't stop with that. You have the regular board, and then if you want to, you can play with the Mastery spell board. And like for your first game or two, you don't have to. I feel like it's probably best to just focus on your player board. But I love having that option too, because then you can kind of make your character even more unique. And then when you're playing the campaign, that's something you kind of earn along the way and really develop your character. It's super cool.
Well, and that player board doesn't add any more complexity to the game. Other than it adds more strategy. Mm-hmm. So you could start with the player boards.
You could. But for someone like me where it's like, there's so many choices, I don't know, I like to simplify it. So I liked playing it without the spell board from the get-go, because then it was less stuff. But yeah, I know. You want it all. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. And I think, because I never played the game without the extra spell board.
You didn't?
No. My first time we played was with the extra spell board.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't feel... And you had played several times by that point, and then we were also playing with your creators. I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage at all because we had the extra spell boards.
He also gets things like super quick, but yeah. So something else about this game, I love all the artwork for this. The characters, the monsters, the tokens, just everything. Like, it looks cool, and I love just like looking at all the art.
Yeah, the art's great as well.
That's the thing that like caught my eye when I first heard about this. I was like, ooh, I like that art. So then I checked it out, and here we go.
And I like how every character like really embodies who that character is, how they fight. Mm-hmm. The hunter is kind of looks more nimble and dexterous. If that's even a word. And their fighting style is that way. Mm-hmm. Whereas like the warrior and the paladin, they're big buff dudes, and they're more tankish and can do a lot of damage.
And their stats reflect that.
Their stats and their artwork reflect it.
Yeah.
So I think it's done really well in that respect. So Alison mentioned that she feels like it's very balanced. And I would agree to her with what we've played so far. Once you get into team modes, you can probably create teams that would be unbalanced, in my opinion.
Okay, I can see what you're saying.
You can have, especially like if you get someone that knows how to play and is like, hey, and is in a group of people that don't know how to play and is like, hey, our team should get this, this, and this because they work well together and they're going to defeat everything that they throw at us.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, like some combinations would probably work better than others. And so something you said brought up maybe kind of a con or just something to be aware of. If you are an experienced player who has played this game and you play it with new people, you're probably going to wipe the floor with them. Since there's so much, options, strategies, everything, and it just takes like some time getting to know the game to really figure it out. If you're playing it with new people, you're probably going to destroy them. And like you said, you're like, oh, well, no, we should do this and this combination. There's just a lot to figure out to get like the intricacies.
Even if you say, okay, I'm going to play with a bunch of new people and I'm going to play a person or a character that I've never played before, you're still likely going to win just because you understand a lot of the game mechanics. Even if you don't know exactly how to optimize that character.
Maybe.
I feel
maybe for you, maybe not for me. There are a lot of symbols. And for now, how the prototype is, we have like two cards front and back of what all the symbols means. I don't know if that's how it's going to be in the final game or not. But I still don't know all of the symbols, but you don't have to know all of the symbols to just play the game.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, your own character is only going to have a handful of symbols, so it's easy to look those up and make sure you know what those are. Another character might have a symbol you didn't look up, and you're just like in the middle of the game, like, wait, I don't remember what this does. That is a big con for me, is that what adds to a lot of the complexity or the perceived complexity is there's all these different tokens with all these different symbols. And a lot of the tokens, while thematic, seem to do the same thing. It's like you have the bleeding and the burning and the poison and a few other things where it's like these 5 different tokens and these 5 different symbols, but they're all just causing me to have 1 less health when my turn comes around. I mean, there could have maybe been some simplification there, but at the same time, I don't think that is a huge con.
Yeah, well, I mean, like there are times where you get the tile or the little tokens stack up, especially with how Bryce plays. He did something where like I would get 5 tokens placed on me, and he's like, "You've been burned and poisoned," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I'm like stacking it all up, layering it out. But I feel like I don't know if I would change how that is, because then if you forget something, it's like, oh no, yeah, I got the burn token from this. Like keeping them separate and keeping them different, even though they basically do the same thing, it can help you remember like what happened where or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so if you happen to play against someone like Bryce, be prepared for lots of tokens on your board and just slowly shift them off. And when you're about to shift them off, he's like, well, how about again? I'm like, no. Right?
Hey, it was that character. They had,
Anyway.
They were more of a supportive character, hurting the other team through tokens, and they didn't do much damage.
Yeah. But anyway, so then we've talked a lot about like the arena mode and some other general things. What do you feel about like the campaign mode? I feel like we have less of experience with that because we played a lot more of the arena mode, but we have tested out part of the Fire campaign.
You're right. We haven't played the Fire campaign as much as we played the arena mode. And we've only played it 2 players. I don't know if it's going to be different with multiple players. But for me, it felt like, okay, I'm going to just move all my people here. I'm going to move all my people here. Do the action, move all of them here. Oh, look, I found the big bad guy. Well, I ultimately enjoyed the campaign mode because the big bad guy was big and bad and super hard to defeat.
It was crazy.
Which was a lot of fun to battle it out. The beginning part, like getting it to the big bad guy, was a little underwhelming in my opinion.
So we don't do too many like RPG kind of things, and I feel like if you are a bit more into role-playing games or Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, I feel like you can make the campaign shine better. I feel like you get out of it what you put into it. I feel like we didn't really like try to work on like, you know, making it like a campaign, making it a story, because we were just trying to like, okay, let's play this, let's try it out. And I think we were just in the wrong mindset when we were playing it.
Well, and it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
I could see how it might be a little different if we had even just a third player.
So Bryce played as all the good guys. I played as the main bad guy in our first game of the scenario. And he killed me.
Well, but you learned something from it.
Yes,
and you were like, I misplayed this.
Yeah,
character.
I totally misplayed something. And it's like, it totally changed how it would have been. I'm like, dang it. Maybe I could have lived and... But yeah, so you win some and you lose some.
Honestly, I think it would have gone a different way had you not misplayed it.
Yeah.
But that's what this game is about.
Yeah.
Is you're gonna misplay things, and you're learning this character. That was the first time you played with that bad guy. You didn't know exactly what the best way to do things was, and so that's what I love about this game is that it's just so replayable because it has so much depth that you have to learn and bring out. Yeah.
This may be something. Not necessarily a con, but for games like Root or, you know, other things where you have to kind of, I don't know, put the effort into really getting the game, really learning the game. If you're not willing to put in time to kind of get used to everything in this game, you might not get the most enjoyment. Like, you can still have fun, but you may not get, like, the satisfaction of all those different intricacies. So this is a game that I feel like the more you play it, the more you really get into it and more understand it and can really, really enjoy it and see it shine. So if you don't have the time for it, I feel like you're not gonna get the full experience.
I agree with that. And I think just kind of playing off what you said, if you can get like a group of 4 people together and really like everybody in that group gets to know it, I think the game would shine so well just because you can really play off of each other's abilities and just be like, I'm setting you up for you to hit them. You're trying to offset what I just did to defend. And I think it would really shine, again, once you put the time in.
Yeah. I've had some games where it was like 3-player online and people were like really going at me. I had like 1 health left or something. And so then I was like talking with someone. I was like, well, hey, how about you don't attack me and you do this and then I'll do this. And it was kind of cool to like have that dynamic and just kind of like work with people. I ended up winning that game. I came back and it was like so satisfying and so cool. It's like, there's just so many different things you can do in this game, and especially like, hey, let's make an alliance or something. If you're doing just full-on arena mode, not team mode, there's just a lot of fun that you can have. And we've only played a sliver of this game. I think there's going to be like 3 different boxes: earth and water, fire and ice, and something. There's lots of options. And then there's going to be the collector's deluxe edition. I think that you get like everything. There's so much to be had in this game, and this is coming from a first-time designer and publisher, and I'm like, wow, they really, really worked hard on this, and it really shows, and we've only played part of it.
Yeah, and kind of like I said earlier, while I might have changed a few things in the game personally, if I was the one to design this, I think they really knocked it out for being a first-time designer.
And if you're looking for a good game that has a lot of replayability and it can like has a like good shelf value, this game has a lot. And I really, really want to see more. I want to see what the rest of it. I mean, like I've seen pictures and know like little bits, but I'm like, I want to see it all. I can't wait for the Kickstarter to launch so I can be like, ooh, look at all these characters, look at all these things.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at the side of the box with the different characters.
So yeah, this has like sneak peeks of things that aren't in our prototype because there's only so much that you could send in a prototype across the pond. But anyway, so yeah, there's so much stuff, and I can't wait for it all. I look at the characters
and I'm just like, oh, I wonder how that person plays.
Okay, I thought of one more thing. It is kind of mathy. So there's attack, and then you subtract the defense. And then there's other things where it's like, well, I think there's like percentages where it'll be like 50% of something, and don't forget to add the intellect and agility or whatever. So it can get a little bit mathy. So if you struggle with math, or if it just kind of that's something to be aware of. But if you're playing with other people, everybody can figure it out together. But yes, it can get a bit mathy.
Yes, there's math in it. It's fairly simple addition and subtraction most of the time.
Sometimes
it's
percentages.
Multiply by 2 or divide by 2. And that's about it. And then sometimes there's a little bit like, okay, I added everything together. Now I need to subtract first and then multiply by 2.
So yeah, the math isn't hard, but I know that can be a thing. So yeah, I want to make sure to mention, yes, it can be a bit mathy, but I still play it anyway.
Well, you are a math major. So.
But I mean, hey, I'm done with that, okay, math? I'm back to like, But anyways, yeah, so I still play it despite it being mathy, despite me having majored in math. Anyway, yeah. But it's a thing, you know, like people say like Bunny Kingdom is super mathy. Well, it's probably way more mathy than this is, actually.
The Bunny Kingdom is a lot more mathy than this.
Anyway, so yeah, there's numbers and stuff, okay.
I'm a lawyer. I should be number phobic, and this is totally fine for me.
You're a tax lawyer.
Well, I'm a special breed of lawyer.
Okay, basically, it's mathy, we do math, and we don't care. So, we enjoy this game. This is a fun one to try out. It's intriguing, cool to look at, looks great on the table, and is a blast, especially if you're playing team mode.
Yeah, I love the depth of this game. Like I said multiple times, you can play the same character over and over and over again and still learn new things of how to work with that character, how that character works with other characters. It's just a great game, and you will get a lot of playability out of it.
Mm-hmm. So we will be putting the link in the description for the Kickstarter. Definitely check it out. Check out everything that Damien's been doing. He's got lots of posts on his Instagram as well. Put the link down there too. And this is launching in November. I think you should really check it out, see what it's all about.
There's really a lot in this box, and I'm excited to explore everything that's going to come in it.
And all the other boxes, too.
Well, yeah, that too.
All right, so thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe. And we've got other great content available to see. And we're also on Instagram.
We do a lot there. Almost posting every day, if not every day. So go check that out. It's a lot of fun.
All right, I'm Allison.
I'm Bryce, and we're Better Half Reviews, and I'm already waving.
Happy gaming!
Bye!
And those Derbyshires and those Lancashires and the
Heroes of the Shire.
Hampshires.
We like you.
And I don't know any other shires.
We're Better Half Reviews.
Reviews?
Reviews.
Reviews. We review board games.
Board games. I mean, some of these characters look really cool.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Just like all of them.
Everybody. Sure.
Okay. So is it Shire or is it Shire?
It's Shire.
Heroes of the Shire.
Sure. Was I agreeing with you or was I just repeating?
I don't know.
Sure.
I was like...
I did not want to look at you in the nicest way possible because I knew I'd smile. Put that back in.
Oh
my gosh. Worcestershire. Worcester. Derbyshire. Lancashire. Sure. Da-na-na-na-na. And today we are talking about Heroes of the Shire. I'm sorry you brought it up.
So is it Shire or is it Shire?
It's Shire.
Heroes of the Shire.
Sure.